6 down and 6 to go for the Highland Park Scots. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to what should be a raucous environment here at the Highlander Fieldhouse. I'm Brian Sutcliffe with my good friend, Coach David Clark. So glad you could join us for another live broadcast of Highland Park Scots varsity basketball. Tonight, what could be a defining game in this 2012-2013 season for the Highland Park Scots as they welcome the West Mesquite Wranglers. The Scotties dropped a heartbreaker 64-61 in Mesquite on January 3rd. After that game, the Scots were 0-2 in district play for the first time ever under Coach David Peeler, and they were confronted with a challenge. Win your last 12 games of the season to all but guarantee yourself a repeat District 10 4A championship. And Coach Clark, it hasn't always been pretty, it hasn't always been easy for David Peeler's Scotties, but they're halfway to the mark with a season-long 6-game winning streak.
You'd think we would have learned this from last year with I think 10 of those 14 wins going down to the wire, less than 5 or 6 point games, and this has been no different this time around. The Scots played another nail biter last Tuesday night at Poteet, and a must-win situation again, and boy, they responded. A lot of guys really stepped up. Jake Steganga had a great game, hitting a couple of really big shots, and tonight's equally as big. I know we keep saying that, but you know, each one makes the next one that much bigger. And these guys got to us last time out, so it should be bombs away from the West Mesquite side. They like the three-point basket, and it'll be interesting to see how the Scots can defend out there on the outside of the perimeter.
The Scotties won a thriller 43-40 at Mesquite Poteet to avenge their loss 47-40 here in the first game of district play. The Scots trailed by as many as 11 points in that game in the second quarter before Jake Steganga and Evan Buechler hit a couple of big three balls in the second quarter to get things going. But now let's go down to the public address announcer for the introduction of the starting lineups and the national anthem.
District 10 between the Wranglers of West Mesquite High School and your Highland Park Scots. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, let's please honor our country with the singing of our national anthem by senior Highland Belle Daisy Burnett.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Daisy Burnett, ladies and gentlemen. And now here are your starting lineups for tonight's game. First for the visiting Wranglers of West Mesquite High School. Number 2, Braylon Rayson. Number 4, Jordan Johnson. Number 10, Tyrone Davis. Number 11, Nate Davis. And number 32, Jalen Etienne. And now for your Highland Park Scots. And forward number 2, 6'7" senior Chase Fletcher. And guard number 3, 5'10" senior Matt Freshella. At guard, number 10, 6'3", junior Matthew Price. At wing, number 20, 6'5", senior Will Miller. And host number 52, 6'5", junior Clayton Bertha. Head coach David Taylor, assistant coach Travis Stoughton, and athletic trainer on duty tonight, Crystal Clark.
The Highland Park Scots are coached by David Peeler in his 7th season. He has a record of 175 wins and 48 losses. The Scotties come into this one with a record of 21 wins and 6 losses. They are 6-2 in District 10 4A. Their starters are number 3, Matt Fraschilla. He's on his way to Harvard and he'll run the point. He's a 5'10 senior. Number 10, Matthew Kreitz starts at the off guard. He's a 6'3 junior. The wings are number 2, Chase Fletcher, a 6'7 senior, and number 20, Will Miller, a 6'5 senior. The post manning the middle is number 52, the big junior, 6'5", Clayton Murtha. The West Mesquite Wranglers are coached by Todd Brewer. They are 18-7. They were ranked as high as 8th in the state by the Texas Association of Basketball Coaches this year. They're tied with the Scots for 2nd in District 10 4A with a record of 6-2. We'll introduce their starters in a moment. That's a man that needs no introduction. It was Braylon Rayson who dropped 7 triples on the Scots in that 64-61 win at Mesquite. HP led by 10 in the 4th quarter, but they were not able to hold on to it. Number 32, Jalen Itiane, a 5'10 senior, is the first of a 5-guard starting lineup. Number 2, Braylon Rayson, a 5'10 senior. He's on his way to Central Michigan. He's the area's leader in 3 points made and 3-pointers made per game at nearly 3. Number 4, Jordan Johnson, a 5'10 senior. Number 10, Tyrone Davis, a senior, 6'3". And number 11, Nate Davis, a 6' senior. West Mesquite turns it over on their first possession, and coach, these are two teams in some ways moving in very opposite directions. The Scots with a season-long 6-game winning streak. West Mesquite was beaten in overtime by North Forney on the road on Tuesday, 64-57.
And that was a big surprise, I think, for a lot of us that really thought that they were, you know, top-notch team in the district. So this should be an interesting game, how they bounce back from that.
Will Miller for the Scotties is number 4 in the area in 3-point shooting. He missed his first, and Jalen Itiane brings it all the way to the other end and scores the first points of the game. West Mesquite with an early 2-0 lead. Chase Fletcher quickly double-teamed by Itiane and Nate Davis. Matt Fraschilla will back things up. The Scots averaging 56.4 points per game. They are allowing 45.8. But HP turns it over.
Boy, there you go.
Offensive
right
foul. Didn't take Matt Fraschilla long. He's second on the team in charges drawn behind Chase Fletcher, who came into this one with 41 charges drawn. But Matt Fraschilla continues to boost his numbers. That's number 16 on the season for the senior captain. On his way to Harvard, Matt Fraschilla, who leads the area in assists.
They're going to get a lot of chances to draw some charges. The Wranglers like to attack the basket and shoot the 3. It's pretty much that's their game plan.
Fraschilla with a nice take. His shot was blocked from behind by Nate Davis. The Scotties will keep it.
A lot of contact again, but Matt, they get the ball. Must have gotten more ball than body.
The Scots will want a better start than they had in Mesquite in that game on January 3rd. There's a nice rebound. Clayton Murtha can't stick it back in, but he gets a second chance.
Great
effort.
effort.
Better on the second look. Clayton Murtha averaging 6.4 points per game, ties it at 2.
Great effort by Clayton on his own putback there.
Pretty stroke there for Tyrone Davis as West Mesquite retaliates. The Wranglers lead at 4-2. HP scored only 7 points in the first quarter in that first matchup, but then got it going in the second in a 14-5 run. HP had the lead in the 4th as Will Miller got caught underneath the goal off that pass from Chase Fletcher. Finding space is Jordan Johnson, and quickly 3 different players have all 3 field goals for Todd Brewer's Wranglers early on.
This will be interesting to see what kind of pace this game is played at. Last game was in the 60s, and it looks like both teams want to go up and down the floor a little bit, so we'll see.
Straight on triple. Off the back iron. Murtha fights for the rebound. Loose ball foul on the rebound. Whistled against the Scots. It'll be against Clayton Murtha.
Boy, Clayton crashing the boards hard, and again, that's one of the things Coach Peeler wants to see the guys do more. is hit that offensive glass as hard as they can, especially the bigs.
Teams even at 1 foul apiece. For the season, West Mesquite averaging 67.4 points per game, Coach. They've been in triple digits twice this year.
Well, they're not going to be shy about putting the ball up. We'll just see how Scott, that's kind of the Scott's forte is being able to play great defense. So we'll see where we hit with the score in this one.
Scott's defense has been on fire in this 6-game winning streak, allowing less than 43 points per game. Rayson inside the paint. That's not his spot. Chase Fletcher tries to take a charge. He doesn't get the call. And Tyrone Davis has his 3rd and 4th points. And it's a good start for West Mesquite. 3.5 minutes in, leading the Scots 8-2.
I think that Rayson is the total package. Against Newman Smith, he hit a couple of threes, and then they kind of guarded him on the perimeter, and then he was taking it to the basket. So they were talking about how great he was at driving the ball, and we were talking about how great he was shooting the ball. So Central Michigan's getting him a good player.
There's a block, and Clayton Murtha will go to the free throw line after Jordan Johnson picks up his first personal. Braylon Rayson in that first matchup on January 3rd didn't start the game, and he didn't score until the last 2 minutes of the first half. He ended up with 26 points and 7 made threes.
Yeah, and I mean, they were like long-range threes too. He was standing out. If it was similar to our court, it'd be out there where that official is on our logo. I mean, he was hitting some bombs, and that's a good take by Clayton, going to the basket hard.
Clayton, as good a foul shooting big man as you'll find anywhere, averaging about 65% at the line this year. The Scots as a team continue to boost that average. They're now at 66% on the season. Their last 8 games, they've been 60% or better, and Big Clayton goes 2 for 2. He's got 4 early on. The Scots deficit is 4, 8-4.
Got a good student body turnout today, Brian. We're really excited about it. Kids were talking about it at school today, so this should be a fun atmosphere.
How about that national anthem by Daisy Burnett, one of the Highland Bells? She'll be busy at halftime as the Bells will do their thing at the intermission. The baseline jumper was missed by Nate Davis. It's tapped out. Murtha fights for it. He's the last to touch it.
Daisy's the baby girl of some other guys that have come through here with the Scots, and they're all very talented people. They play sports, and yet they're involved in the musicals and bells and all this good stuff.
Number 5, Trey Garrison, the 6'4 senior, enters the game, replacing Will Miller. And Jake Stiganga coming off the best game of his varsity career on Tuesday when he had 6 points, 2 rebounds, 7 assists, and 0 turnovers.
Well, that's great. That's 0 turnovers is what makes Coach Peeler smile.
Hit the game-winning 3 to give the Scots the lead they would not relinquish in the 43-40 win. Nice move into the lane by Jalen Itiane. He has 4 early points. It's a 10-4 lead for West Mesquite.
This looks like the last time we played them. We got to just stay in touch here and not let them get away from us. They play great on-the-ball defense. Very aggressive, lots of hands. And Matthew, remember last time he kind of wore down a little bit. So we'll see how Coach Peeler plays him and gives him a little rest every once in a while. That's where Jake can really step up and help like he did last Tuesday night.
Matt Fraschilla played all 32 minutes in that game in Mesquite on January 3rd. Fraschilla given the baseline. He'll crank it. Left it a little bit short. Another rebound by Clayton Murtha and one.
Great. Glad to see Matthew not hesitate to put that shot up. And then, again, Clayton's going and attacking the glass, which is great.
Offensive rebounding was a problem in the first matchup between these teams as the Scots were out-rebounded on the offensive glass 10-4. The Scots out-rebounded West Mesquite by 1, 24-23, but that 10-4 advantage for the Wranglers on the offensive glass was a big part of the difference.
That's a little bit of that strategy of shooting the ball and attacking the rim and having enough speed and athleticism to get back so you're not giving up open layups. So it's part of their game plan is to throw it up there and go get it.
Skip it out to Itiane. Johnson, the corner 3, missed it. Tapped out of bounds. Last touch by the Scots. Braylon Rayson's not the only guy that can hit from outside the arc. Jalen Itiane coming into this one at 32 made threes. Jordan Johnson has 24. Tyrone Davis with 25 of his own. So about as dangerous a three-point shooting team as you'll find anywhere in North Texas. It's a 3-point lead for the Wranglers. That just shows you a bit right there as Itiane. They passed up a good look in the paint to kick it out to Itiane for the open 3 ball. He's got 7 early points, and it's a 6-point advantage for West Mesquite with 2:20 left in the first. Brian Sutcliffe Coach David Clark, the JV team, getting back on the winning note. Congratulations on a nice performance.
Well, they played great today. They played great defense, and I'm real proud of them, bouncing back the way they did.
ITA got the rebound off the miss, but it was taken away by the Scots. And the ball was ripped out by Tyrone Davis. Davis thought that Chase was the last to touch it. The officials don't agree, as we got a great crowd still filing in here on a Friday evening. Temperature starting to cool a little bit. Had some of those unseasonably warm temperatures this week. That's a little more like it. Ball's out of bounds, and the official on the near sideline says that Chase was the last to touch it.
I think some of our HP crowd has trouble adjusting to the 7 o'clock start after years of 7:30 starts too.
.150 left, 13-7. There's Rayson's spot. He nearly banked that in. Rebound, Jake Stiganga. Stiganga's got to look out. He's got some trouble by one of the Davis boys. It was Tyrone harassing him into the front court. Fraschilla parries for a moment with Nate Davis, who then sinks off. Offensive foul whistled against Clayton Murtha.
Kind of caught him a little bit in between his roll to the basket and screening at the same time. That's too bad. That's his second foul on Clayton, and that could be big later on.
Murtha with 7 first quarter points. The Scotties can't afford, the way this game is being played thus far, to have Clayton have to sit for an extended period.
Looks like Kahn's getting ready to come in and take his spot.
ITA missed that one badly to the left. Rebound, Chase Fletcher averaging 6.4 boards per game. Kick it over to Jake. Hit an icy cold-blooded 3 to give the Scots the win on Tuesday in a game they had to have to maintain their hopes of a second consecutive District 10 4A title.
They sure did need that. And Jake was just so calm and knocked it down. A little deflection.
That post entry was deflected and intercepted. One Davis to the next. It's Tyrone to Nate. Nate has his first 2, and Coach David Peeler wants a timeout with 52.2 seconds left. West Mesquite with an early surge. They lead the Scots 15-7. And Coach, after this first quarter, we'll take a look at the 10 4A standings. But one thing it's important to note, when you look at the schedule for West Mesquite, they played North Forney on Tuesday. They play the Scots tonight. They play Newman Smith on Tuesday. If the Scots can't get a win tonight, they'd be a game behind West Mesquite. West Mesquite would have the tiebreaker, and then you're to a position where you'd have to hope that one of the bottom-rung teams would do the Scots a favor by knocking off West Mesquite. So there's still plenty of games left, but you can almost say if there's any game left on the schedule the Scots can't afford to lose, it's this one.
That's very true, Brian. I think there's no doubt about that. And they're going to get Newman Smith back at their place too, which will be nice for them. Boy, it's just a key game that they got in front of them right now. And aspirations to win the district, and I know sometimes it gets clouded with just making the playoffs, but that's not the Scots' expectation level here. They want to win the district championship.
West Mesquite before that lost to North Forney in their previous 2 games. It only beat Creekview by 7 as Derek Kahn, fresh into the game, puts his name amongst the scorers with his first 2. The 6'5 junior, number 44, gets into the act quickly, makes it a 6-point West Mesquite lead, 15-9 with under 30 seconds left.
Derek loves that mid-range jumper. He can hit that thing all day long. That's a good shot for him.
West Mesquite struggled with Creekview last week, and then we're down by 8 at halftime against Terrell. So not exactly coming in with a head of steam, but they're not playing like a team right now that was down to a team that hadn't won a district game all year at the half.
Well, it seems like Scots always get everybody's best shot.
Well, they're getting some dead-eye shooting as Tyrone Davis has 7 points. Trey Garrison will fire it up, and after 1, it's all West Mesquite. They lead the Highland Park Scots 18-9. Let's take a look at the promised vista of the District 10 4A standings now as we head to the second quarter. And when you see the standings, you can see why this game is so important for both these teams tonight, as Highland Park, who after the first couple games were down there near the bottom of the district, they've nearly reached the mountaintop. They're in second place right now. Highland Park and West Mesquite tied at 6-2, just a game behind the district-leading Newman Smith Trojans, who have risen to number 10 in the area rankings by the Dallas Morning News. As we take a look at the action tonight, you've got West Mesquite here at Highlander against Highland Park. Carrollton Creekview on the road against Poteet. That might be a playoff elimination game right there. You have North Forney at Newman Smith. North Forney could get right back into the district championship hunt if they could somehow get a win over Newman Smith tonight. And then you've got Terrell on the road at Forney. As That was a reminder there of the action from earlier this week. It was HP over Poteet 43-40. Creekview picked up district win number 3 as they won over Forney 67-50. It was North Forney in overtime over West Mesquite 64-57, and Newman Smith all over Terrell 65-46. Jake Steganga, Will Miller. There's another offensive foul called against the Scots, and HP's offense just not able to get in rhythm so far. And you know, you look, it was a nice win against North Forney, but you only scored 38 points in that game, and the Scotties only able to get to 43 on Tuesday. So the offense has been playing so much better through much of the first run through district, but some of the struggles we saw earlier in the season have reared their ugly heads once more. 3-second violation, that's a big call against West Mesquite.
It's going to take more than 40-something to win this game, I guarantee you. So it's nice to see something we didn't see at all the last time we played them, and that is Matt Frischella getting some rest. So Jake's earned some time at the point, and we'll see how the Scots do. Number
13, Ben Livingston, the 6'1 senior. We were calling him the closer after the game the other night. That's 2 games in a row. He's come in and hit 2 of 2 free throws to make 1-point Scott leads into 3-point advantages.
A little miscommunication there between Jake and Ben on a little bit of the motion offense they're running.
Little floater, Braylon Rayson got it. First points of the game by Braylon Rayson. That's got to be somewhat discouraging if you're David Peeler. You look up at the scoreboard, you're trailing 20-9, and Braylon Rayson, who's number 4 in the area in scoring in points per game at 19.3, just scored his first basket.
First bucket, yeah, and he lit us up the last time. So Coach Peeler's going to talk to him about it. He doesn't like to leave the paint open like that, I promise you. That is coming up in a conversation, I'm sure. Scots pride themselves on tough, guarding the paint defense, and that was not acceptable that we just saw.
On the south baseline, it's David Meany. On the north side, it's George Denby, the Altshuler and Company Scots mop crew doing their thing. Altshuler and Company is a real estate advisory services firm that features big ideas and flawless execution. Altshuler and Company, proud sponsors of the Scots mop crew. 7:12 left first half. West Mesquite with an 11-point lead, 20-9. 4 fouls against West Mesquite, 3 against the Scots as Matt Frischella was fouled on his way to the basket. Will they count it on continuation? They'll wave off the basket. It'll be on the floor. 5th team foul against West Mesquite. Second on Tyrone Davis. The Scots could get him in foul trouble. That would behoove them as he had an early 7 points. Jalen Itiane is tied for team high honors with 7 of his own. All the way out to Jake Steganga, 7 assists, 0 turnovers, the game-winning 3 in his best varsity performance ever. He had games last year where he had more points, but didn't have a game where he had the kind of impact that he had last night. He also had a couple of steals on the defensive end.
No, he really did. He played well and really directed the attack well, which was great to see.
Kick it over to Jake. Can he do it again?
Front rim.
Weak side board, Jalen Itiane. 20-9, West Mesquite with a lead. Here's Rayson. Pulls up from the free throw line, missed it. He's on his way to Central Michigan.
Oh my God.
Scots have a big crowd here tonight. They haven't had much to get excited about thus far as West Mesquite has hit the Scots in the mouth early on. Still lots of basketball left. Turnaround in the paint, Nate Davis, he's got 4. 22-9, West Mesquite early.
Well, that's a tough call. It looked like the Wranglers had knocked the ball out of bounds. The Scots were going to get it, and then they give up a basket off the inbound. Turn the ball over at the other end.
Here comes Itiane, picked up by Matt Frischella, who picks up his first foul. Probably a good foul as West Mesquite had numbers coming the other way.
It did. Scott's got to take care of the ball. You know, West Mesquite's one of those teams that just feed off of your turnovers, and your turnovers set up their offense. So if you can just make them play a little defense, you make them work a little bit.
Well, Rayson hasn't had the touch from the outside thus far. You talked about turnovers. The Scots in 2 very close games in their last pair of outings, averaging only 9 turnovers per game. There's Will off the look from Fletcher. Tapped up, taken by Rayson. Then Jake Steganga picks his pocket. Willy-nilly basketball both ways. The Scots will have it on a sideline inbound.
Hate to see that. You hate to work hard, get a steal, and then you throw it right back away. Scots really got to take care of the ball, kind of step up, be a little more patient than they have been on the offensive end, kind of forcing things a little bit.
Clayton Murtha has 7 of the Scots' 9 points. They're having to leave him in the game because he's been their most dominant offensive player, but he's got 2 fouls. Will Mill try it again off the back iron. Rebound, Fletcher. Give it to Miller, who swoops to the cup. He couldn't hit it. Little scoop shot with the right hand. And West Mesquite has it. HP having a very hard time scoring. They've yet to dent here in the second. We're 2.5 minutes in.
Will's got to keep shooting. He's a scorer, and he's going to be able to do it.
Etienne got it for the travel.
You want the Scots to stay aggressive and keep shooting the open shots. Just got to go in here a little bit, and that's really important to somebody be able to knock it down.
Very similar story, Coach, to what we saw on January 3rd. HP trailed after one, 11-7, had a very hard time getting the offense going, but it was in the second 8 minutes of play that they found their stride. They'll need to do it again tonight as they've fallen behind by 13 early on. They were down by double digits against Poteet on Tuesday and managed to find a way.
Scots find a way. Let's see if they can work this out. Lots of ball pressure now.
Tex Nunez, number 0, the 5'10 senior, in for Todd Brewer's Wranglers. Will Mill misses again. Murtha fights for the rebound. Here comes Nunez. Etienne thought about the 3. Instead, it's Braylon Rayson avoiding the contact, scooping it in. Rayson with 4. A 15-point lead for West Mesquite, 24-9, and Evan Buechler, instant offense, getting set to check in for the Scotties.
We'll see if Evan can get some of those looks and that Will's been getting and be able to knock it down. Kreitz is coming back in too for Jake. Scots need a spark right here. Maybe Evan can give them a spark. Maybe Jake, maybe Matthew Kreitz, who's been playing a lot better, can come up with something for him.
The Scots didn't score for about the first 6 minutes in the second quarter against Poteet, and then it was a pair of triples by Jake Stiganga and then Evan Buechler that got the Scots going. That made it a manageable deficit at halftime.
Just scoring spurts right now, and they need to make sure they just stay in touch.
Chase trying to pump it down low, and the West Mesquite defense has been punishing in this game. Very athletic. The Scots have had a hard time getting anything going on the offensive side of the ball. Rayson cupped the basketball.
He's got a lot of quickness. And he's hard to handle when he gets out there. A guy that has that kind of range and also has the ability to take it to the basket. Scots want to make him give the ball up, make him make that extra pass.
Mitchell Kaufman, number 4, the 6'3 sophomore, into the game for the first time as Chase Fletcher gets a breather. Chase hasn't scored yet. Nobody has other than Clayton Murtha and Derek Kahn. Murtha with 7 and Derek Kahn with a bucket. Frischilla into Kaufman. Now Buechler on the right wing. He'll step into a 3 ball. A little bit short. He'll fight for his own rebound, tried to save it in. Not able to do it. The Scots have still not scored in the second. They trailed after one, 18-9, but a 6-0 start to the second quarter has made it a 15-point advantage for the visitors from West Mesquite. 18-7 on the season. Were rated as highly as number 8 in the state by the Texas Association of Basketball Coaches. The Wranglers, the preseason favorite by that organization to win District 10 4A, and they're playing like it tonight. Number 5, Trent Edwards, the 5'11 senior, couldn't hit his first field goal attempt. 3:13 left, first half, 24-9 Wranglers. Before a packed house here at Highlander. There's a steal, Nate Davis. It's a 4-on-2, Davis puts it in.
Well, he just about great play on the defensive end and then just powered in the layup. Nice play by Nate Davis.
It's an 8-0 start to the second. 2:50 remaining. HP has not scored. They trail by 17, 26-9. Pump it into Clayton off the nice feed from Frischilla, and finally the Scots are on the board. But it takes the usual suspect, Clayton Murtha, who has 9 of the Scots' 11 points. Offensive foul, then he does it at the defensive end. Clayton Murtha has been such a phenomenon this year. He was a very good player as a sophomore last year, but he has really taken the next step. And on the teams of District 10, I cringe to think what this guy is going to be doing next year.
You know, he's gotten so much confidence, too. I think that's a big deal with Clayton. He feels like he can really contribute this year and has been playing so well. And just showed it right there with at both ends of the floor really contributing.
The senior captain, number 32, Matt Wilson, in the game for the first time. Here's Nunez with a behind-the-back dribble. He'll take it up, has it swatted in his face by Matthew Kreitz. So the Scots trying to use the defense to get their game going. They trail by 15 with 2:15 left in the first half. Brian Sutcliffe, Coach David Clark at the Highlander Fieldhouse. A virtual must-win for the Scots if they want to claim their second consecutive district championship. Pump it down to Clayton. Skip it to Buechler, left side, bottom!
Well, that's his spot. I love it when they go inside to go outside. It's such a better look for the perimeter shooter to be able to do that.
HP within 12, 26-14 in a rapidly moving second quarter. There's Antron Singleton. So some reserves in for West Mesquite right now. Here's Nunez. Trent Edwards will back things out with 1:35 remaining in a 12-point game. Down to Nunez. Nunez pulled it away from Matt Wilson and scored his first basket of the basketball game. Back up to a 14-point lead. It's West Mesquite doubling up the Scotties 28-14. Fraschilla given space, taking it. Can't hit the shot. Nunez, we're saying his name a lot in the limited minutes he's had thus far. Catch and release three, missed. That would have been a big shot by A.J. Walker.
Scots need to convert right here. This will be a good momentum. They need a little boost going into halftime, and this could do it if a nice little score right here at the last minute of play.
Under 1 minute to go. Buechler will try it again. Back iron. Wilson down to Murtha. Can't hit it. Rebound, Ben Scott. 40 seconds to go, 28-14.
Evan knows his job out there. He's trying to shoot the ball and give them a spark, and he's a great scorer. He's got a great shot, and hopefully he'll continue.
Coming into this game, Buechler was 1 for 5 inside the three-point line and 6 for 15 outside it.
Scots get a last look here.
Triple would look real nice right about now.
Yes, sir.
15 seconds to go. Chase Fletcher was going to check in. He goes back to the bench. 10 seconds remaining. Scots trail by 14. Fraschilla. Nice pass to Murtha. But the Scots turn it over, and Matt Fraschilla just picked up his second.
Yeah, they won't be shooting, so that's probably a good foul for Matt, other than it's second on him, and we definitely need him in the second half. Got to put a little pressure on them so they don't roll the ball in and have a chance to move it forward without the clock running.
14 points, the fewest the Scots have scored in the first half all year, as Edwards fires it up and hits it, and it's been that kind of night for the Scots. Boy, Trent Edwards, his first points of the game at the buzzer, give the West Mesquite Wranglers at halftime a 17-point lead, 31-14.
Well, that's that's kind of the exclamation point on the first half for the Wranglers, and kind of like everything that could go wrong for the Scots did go wrong, and they got to climb back in here, and they can. The Wranglers are not going to pull back. They're going to keep shooting. They're going to keep shooting the three and driving to the basket. So the Scots have a chance with some stops and a little bit better shooting in the second half.
So, Coach, as we moved through the Plano tournament and into district, the Scots offense really started to find its groove. You had 60-point games, a couple of 70-point games, 76 against Forney, but since then, against North Forney, it was 38 points. Against Poteet, it was 43. The Scots are short of 30 on a pace right now in this game. What's the difference that you've seen over the last few games?
I think it's just a matter of making shots. I think the Scots are still getting good looks. It's not like you're not getting an open chance. You just got to knock the shots down. You know, I used to like to say, the coach's job is to get you an open look. Your job is to knock it down. And there's only so much that a coach can do and draw up. And Coach Peeler's a great X and O guy. And there's only so much you can do. And you got to be ready to step up and knock down a shot. And somebody will here in the second half. The Scots will make a run and bring this thing back down to where at least they got a chance at it.
You look at this game, and in some respects, West Mesquite's playing a Highland Park kind of game, a stifling defense, getting good, balanced offensive performance. They have 31 points, and 7 guys have scored. Whereas you look at Highland Park, and they've got 14. You got 3 guys. Clayton Murtha with 9, and the Scots 14 points. Evan Buechler with 3, and Derek Kahn with 2.
Yeah, and when Rayson doesn't have he's not their leading
scorer. He's got 4 points.
He's got 4 points, and they're up by 17. That could not bode well for the Scots here in the second half if he gets it going with everybody else contributing too.
We will be amazed now by the dance stylings of the Highland Bells. On our halftime show, we're going to shut up, let you watch these talented young ladies do their thing. We'll be back on the flip side. But West Mesquite at times has been willing to shoot the Scots back into it.
Absolutely, and that hopefully could come back to haunt them here a little bit. Well, we'll see.
22 seconds left, and Jordan Johnson is content as long as Trey Garrison is willing to rag time. There's 15 seconds. Hedging on that screen big time was Murtha. Nearly forces a turnover.
This is the guy they want to have the ball right here in this
7
situation.
seconds. Instead, it's Johnson for three. Got it. If I'm a West Mesquite fan, they're going to give it to him.
Yes.
Ben Livingston with a big bucket. And the final second of the third quarter, and the Scots needed it badly. They trailed by 17 at halftime. Probably played their best quarter of the game there in the third, but they now trail by 18.
Right, they played them even there, or relatively even, but you gave up so much in the first half. You're still behind, so Scots really need to get some, like you mentioned earlier, they need some stops. Looks like the offense is starting to find some rhythm and some things that they can do inside, and it looks like they just need some stops on the other end. So maybe get some help from the Wranglers, turn the ball over, but it's a big 8 minutes right now if the Scots want to win a district championship.
At Texas Capital Bank, we're driven by an unwavering mission to serve Texas businesses and the entrepreneurs and families who run them. Since our beginning in 1998, we've grown into one of the state's largest independent banks, with offices in Dallas, Fort Worth, Austin, Houston, and San Antonio. Texas Capital Bank is proud to support the Highland Park Scots and wishes the team great success this season. It's crunch time for the Highland Park Scots as they take the floor with 8 minutes left, being beaten by 16, 49-33. as after that Ben Livingston bucket, the deficit did shrink by a point at halftime, or from halftime.
Yeah, the score.
Here's Garrison. Missed shot, offside rebound. Chase Fletcher.
All right, that's a start now. They need to do it at this end of the court. This is the big one.
14-point game. Jump stop. That's the problem.
Boy, they get into the paint. They can take you off the dribble up top, and they get to the paint and make things happen.
Will Miller hasn't scored in the game. They could use one of those patented Miller triples right about now. Nice look. Offensive foul, Derek Kahn.
Well, I don't know about that.
West Mesquite has just been one step ahead of the Scots at both ends of the floor in this game. A very impressive performance thus far by Todd Brewer's Wranglers.
I don't know about that one. That's a tough call right there. Looked like, I mean, there wasn't much contact at all considering what's been going on down in the paint earlier in the game.
Racing to Johnson. Badly missed. West Mesquite hit 13 three-pointers on January 3rd in that 64-61 win. No kick ball. But then Matt Fraschilla takes it right back and scores with the left hand. There's your senior captain, Matt Fraschilla.
That's a big play. Scott's putting a little backcourt pressure on him now.
14-point game. Here's Etienne. Wide open three ball. Was halfway down. Remember that, Karam. If the Scots were able to come back in this one, it was missed by Tyrone Davis.
And we said earlier, I mentioned at halftime, the Wranglers are not going to change their game plan just because they're up. They're not going to run the clock. They're going to keep playing and doing what they do. And it's a good thing for the Scots to maybe get back in it because of it.
Fletcher sealed Nate Davis in textbook fashion to get the pass and finish. Fletcher with 11. It's a 12-point game. Fletcher diving down. He got it in a timeout.
That was great hustle by Chase diving for the ball. The bad news of that, Scots only have one timeout left, so Coach Peeler had to use 3 in the first half, so it's going to be a little tough. So
possession so critical for the Scots. Still lots of time, but with no shot clock. And I haven't asked you, what's your take on the no shot clock fact here in high school basketball? There's a school of thought that would say that, you know, it takes a lot of the strategy out of the game late, in that, you know, if you're down 5 points, the Scots are down 5 points here with a minute left, you're in serious trouble. But in a game with maybe a 30 or 35-second shot clock, you might have a chance.
I think that's a good question, and I think it's been debated with the basketball coaches here in Texas a lot, and it may come to pass. I don't want to change this game. I think this is great. You know, you have a 38 to 35 game, and then you can have a 64 to 61 game, which we saw in the same week before. You know, so this is kind of thing. I just think there's a lot of strategy. It's good for the kids. What I don't like to see teams hold the ball, and if a shot, you know, try to win a game 8-6 or something.
And you don't see very much of that at all,
you really
which is
don't.
good.
And I'd hate for them to change. I think they will eventually. I think high school basketball in Texas will have a shot clock in the next few years. There's a lot of technology involved in it, I can tell you that, from an expense standpoint for each school. So it's a little more complicated than just somebody putting a stopwatch on it.
Fraschilla Murtha, who has a career-high 19 points. Garrison, Fletcher, Will Mill.
No.
Untimely turnover.
Boy, Chase was trying to shoot it before he actually had a handle on it. And again, that's a good look, good back cut off of what they've been throwing into the post.
The Scotties are trying to turn the tables on West Mesquite, who were basically in this same position in the game at Mesquite. The Scots led in the fourth quarter of that game by 10 points, but then had a crippling series of 5 consecutive possessions that ended with a turnover. When that run started, the Scots were up by 8, and when it was over, they were down by 3. And Clayton Murtha just picked up his 4th foul.
Well, another critical factor, our Matt Fraschilla, our floor general and our leading scorer right now, looking at some major foul issues.
The Wranglers now have 4 players in double figures. Timely free throw shooting.
Just need to have a good look here on this possession. Keep some momentum going.
14-point game. Fake the handoff. Chase has had that whenever he's wanted it tonight. That should be a 2-shot foul. The Scots are already over the limit. Still one to give for West Mesquite, but that'll be a shooting foul, and sends Chase Fletcher to the line. He didn't score in the first half. He now has 11 for the game.
If there's an advantage for the Scots in this game, it's definitely inside with Murtha and Fletcher. So Scots are trying to exploit that a little bit. You haven't seen them shoot a 3 in a while, so they're really kind of pounding it inside and seeing what they could get in the paint.
Clayton Murtha and Chase Fletcher have combined for 31. Now 32 of the Scots at 41 points. HP is 8 for 8 at the line.
It's good to see. We're going to need those down the stretch here if we can get it within shouting distance.
Nate Davis. Tell you what, their shots have either found the bottom or missed horribly. It's been really nothing in between.
Well, again, I'm telling you, they're not going to run clock, and they're not going to, use the advantage that we don't have a shot clock to help them. They're going to keep playing their game, and there's going to be some missed shots, and the Scots just need to get stops and score at the other end. Will Mill.
Frashilla, free him up. Timing would be good. Bingo!
Well, that's good. They got the crowd back into it. Scott's inside of double digits for the first time in forever, it seems like. So need a stop here. And
Will Miller's 48 3-ball makes it a 9-point game. Offensive foul. Matt Frashilla takes his second of the game.
Good play by Matt. Again, on the ball defense, tremendous. Again, he's got 3 fouls, and maybe you think he has one to give, but boy, that's twice that he's drawn offensive fouls when he's sitting there with 3 fouls on him.
Less than 4:50 left. I'm Brian Sutcliffe with Coach David Clark. And what's getting interesting? A 9-point game. Pump it to Chase, left block.
Boy, that's a hard shot.
And in.
That's sheer determination right there, Brian. He was
ridiculous.
Not going to be denied. He was going to go. That was good defense, and Chase just wanted it. 7
points, and the Scots are playing at a different pace right now. And Coach Todd Brewer senses that he wants a timeout with 4:25 left in regulation. West Mesquite is led by as many as 18 points in this game. It's down to 7.
Well, that's a great little run there by the Scots and forcing a timeout from the Wranglers, kind of regroup. Crowd's back in it, and Scott's feeling a little more confident.
Clayton Murtha, if the Scots win this one, there needs to be some slaps on the back for that young man. As when the Scots couldn't get anything going in the first half, that was Clayton Murtha. He's got a career-high 19 points in the game. He's got a handful of rebounds, many of them on the offensive end. He has been completely unstoppable in this game for Highland Park.
The downside to all that is he's got 4 fouls, so he's got to be a little bit careful on the defensive end because he's so important to us on the offensive end right now. Hitting the glass, a lot of those on putbacks from missed shots where he's really being aggressive to go get that offensive rebound. But we'll see what the Wranglers come out with after this timeout. And the Scots get a stop here, go down, score. Then this thing really is up for grabs. Lots of time left too, Brian. 4 minutes, 25 seconds. Lots of time to make a run.
You certainly can't say that either team would have an advantage in a free throw shooting contest. Highland Park is 8 for 8, West Mesquite 7 for 8. So I guess the Scots would have a clear advantage there.
That's impressive.
They
for
haven't
both
missed
teams.
One tonight.
That's impressive.
Now that I've said that, they won't make another one tonight.
Good.
But
don't say that. We're okay. You didn't say that.
No, I did.
You did not say that.
I did not say that.
Oh my gosh. They're going to take Will out of the game because he didn't have his shirt tail in coming out of the timeout. Or maybe let's see if he's got blood on him. I think Will has blood on his jersey or pants or something.
So Ben Livingston will come in his place. It's Livingston, Garrison, Murtha, Fletcher, and Frashilla on the floor. Clayton Murtha with 19 points, but 4 personal fouls.
Well, we need Will back in the game. Looks like.
And Coach Todd Brewer's not really excited that it's like Will maybe given a chance to get his situation under control and then come back into the game. But no, they'll leave Livingston in.
I think they found out where the blood was coming from. It looks like Tyrone Davis was bleeding a little bit. So Coach Crystal Clark is over there patching everybody up.
7-point game. Scots trailed by 16 after 3.
Need a stop here big time, Brian.
Nunez rejected that screen. They'll swing it around to the right side. Here's Etienne. Nunez found some space, missed the shot.
Nice job by Clayton right there contesting that short shot. And again, the Scots have a chance to narrow the gap to 5 or maybe even 4.
Coach David Peeler stomping his foot, directing traffic at the offensive end. Fraschilla, Fletcher. Fletcher's hit 2 3-pointers this year. Garrison battles with Johnson. There's a near steal. Chase Fletcher just fouled out.
Oh, Clayton Murtha. That's going to be it.
Excuse me, if that's on Murtha, it's his 5th.
I think that's Murtha.
It is.
I think they're going to get him. That's too bad.
That is the 5th foul against Clayton Murtha, who'll have to leave playing the game of his life.
Clayton getting overplayed on the perimeter, and Trey just didn't make a pass hard enough to got the deflection again. When you fuel their offense by turning it over on the perimeter, they attack, and if you make them play some half-court offense, I think the Wranglers struggle a little bit in that game. That's a lane violation if he's going to call it. Well, I'm going to give him a redo.
Now explain a little bit what you mean there.
Well, the substitute, they had already given the ball to the shooter, and the substitute was coming in the game, and the kid stepped off the line over there on the shooter's left side. And
one-on-one is missed, excuse me.
Yeah, well, that's good. We needed that. We jinxed them too, I guess.
18 fouls against the Scots, 6 against West Mesquite, so both teams shoot the bonus. Fraschilla straight on Miller. The place was ready to explode.
Oh, it was. That looked dead on too. It looked like Murtha's getting ready to come back in the game, so I'm not sure if they had the scorebook wrong or something.
Oh my. 2 point-blank looks for West Mesquite. They come away with nothing. West Mesquite has scored 4 points here in the 4th. Fletcher.
Got to be real careful with the ball on the perimeter now. The Wranglers are still overplaying the outside.
Clayton Murtha is sitting at the scorer's table. That's a bit confusing. Chase, foul, bit of a late whistle. The Scots will take it. That's the 17th foul against West Mesquite. And your senior captain, Chase Fletcher, can make it a 5-point game.
Well, that's a good possession by the Scots. Just again, I think they're certainly the 4th quarter, if the game plan is to pound it inside to Fletcher and to Murtha. And I guess there was a little confusion on the scoreboard and on Murtha's foul situation. It looks like he's coming back in the game.
First miss for the Scots, and new life for Clayton Murtha.
It is. Maybe
I wonder when they said he had 4, I looked down at my score sheet and that didn't quite look right. I guess I should have said something.
I think Coach Snowden probably had the same thing because he was the one that had Mitchell ready to come in. Didn't convert that. That's too bad. Scots really could have used those free throws.
2:35 left. Scots trail by 7. A furious comeback within striking distance now.
Take a little air out of it now, it looks like.
Both teams shooting the bonus for the rest of the 4th. Etienne throws it away. West Mesquite unraveling just a little bit. You're seeing some frustrated players right now. You saw a couple of missed point-blank shots. See an unforced turnover right there. 2:15 left. Let's see how the Wranglers deal with a little bit of pressure. They haven't been pressured much in this game. They jumped out to a big early lead. They led after one, 18-9. This is the closest the Scots have been since the 1st quarter. Here's Miller. Had his shot blocked. And then a late foul call against Chase Fletcher. It'll be the 1-and-1.
Well, I did not see that, so I'm not sure what that was, but must have been coming out of the fast break and Chase reached for somebody.
Nate Davis is 3 for 4 at the line. Excuse me, that's Tyrone Davis. It's a 1-and-1. Big shot. Got it. First point for West Mesquite in a while.
Yeah, they were on the ropes here a little bit. Scots had 2 straight possessions. They could have really done some damage and let both of them end in turnovers.
2 for 2 for Tyrone Davis. West Mesquite is 9 for 10 at the free throw line. 1:50 left. It's a 9-point game. Scots cannot afford to come away with no points.
It's going to be Miller in the corner. Oh,
there's a travel.
Oh my gosh. It's a little set play to get Will Miller a shot in the corner over there, and unfortunately Matt got a little excited when Chase came open underneath, and Scott's trap a little bit now.
Chase Fletcher now has 3 fouls. That's now 10th team foul for the Scots, so West Mesquite will shoot 2. And I was just about to say before that foul, the HP defense probably needed to pitch a shutout for the rest of the game.
You're probably right, Brian, and putting the Wranglers on the line is looks like it's pretty much money for these guys. They are knocking them down.
ITN with 13 points. Braylon Rayson has 10. Tyrone Davis with 13. Nate Davis with 11. And once again, it's an 11-point game. Miller, turnaround, got it. Timeout Scots with 1:28 left.
I think that's Coach Peeler's last timeout. So Scots will have to get something set for every possession now. Probably put a little front court pressure and see what they can do. This may be the situation, Brian, where you got to make a steal, and if you can't make a steal, you got to foul and put them on the line and see if you get somebody to miss one. But they're going to be shooting 2 free throws at every foul now. So Scots really have their work cut out for them with a minute and a half to go, and they need some stops and some help from the Wranglers right now.
West Mesquite at 18-7 has not lost back-to-back games all season. They're 128 away from keeping that streak alive and putting some serious pressure on the Scots if they want to defend their District 10 4A championship.
They really did. If they just take care of the ball, the Scots are going to have to either foul or I think if they'll hold the ball, they probably will hold the ball like they did that last possession and force the Scots into some either some foul or leave somebody open for a dunk or a layup. It's like Scots have stretched out their 1-3-1 to put a little backcourt pressure. Mitchell Kaufman on the top of that 1-3-1.
For the first time we've seen this defensive look all night.
I think it is, yes. There's the layup. That's about the only shot I think they're going to take. Shoot free throws and layups, so we'll see.
11-point game, 1:13 left. Chase, nice drive to the basket. Fletcher was 17. He didn't score in the first half. Shot was short, but then offensive rebound.
They're still shooting.
A third look.
Ought to bring it out. They ought to bring it out. They didn't.
Less than a minute left, and Mitchell Kaufman is fouled. West Mesquite just doesn't quite want to put the Scots away in this one.
They really don't. Now, you get an offensive rebound like that, you got to bring
4 looks.
You got to bring the ball out at least and run some clock, and if not, force the Scots to foul one of your shooters. And then when they come up with a defensive rebound, you certainly don't want to foul like that with this kind of lead and let the Scots score with the clock stop.
Well, I'll tell you what, the teams in District 10 4A need to look out for Terrell, because if Terrell was up by 8 at halftime against these guys, that Tiger squad has gotten better, which I think we knew that anyway.
I think we did. They played a good first half against us, too.
Big free throw from Mitchell Kaufman. That's the 8th team foul against West Mesquite, so still the 1-1.
You know, Brian, your strategy would be totally different if you had some timeout.
There's Rayson, probably not the guy you want to foul, but is the guy you're going to have to foul.
You may not have a choice right now.
Well, he gives it up to ITN.
I'd foul him right there. They're trying to foul.
They're fouling Tyrone Davis.
I think Davis just knocked down a couple last time he was there.
Well, they've all been knocking him down.
That's true.
There isn't exactly a guy out there that you can rely upon to go out there.
I don't know who I'd pick.
Miss 2. Tyrone Davis hit the first 2 he shot.
Must be the yellow shoes. He's knocked those down. It's
an 8-point game as Murtha, who fouled out and then didn't foul out. Someone said, you know, go on back in.
You know, I
like he had a lifeline or something.
As a coach, I always wait and let them tell me because you never know. You know, I got a manager that's telling me something, and I just wait until the referee comes to tell me, and then I want to be sure to take my 45 seconds or whatever they give you just to make sure they've added them up right.
Less than 30 seconds left.
Scots need a shot.
Miller will take it.
Oh, in and out.
It's been that kind of night for the Scots
Really
on the
has.
offensive end. Murtha tried to foul Etienne. 15 seconds left. Finally, Chase is given the foul.
Well, that should about do it.
Coach, you know, you find a lot of games where you can look at one or two things and say that was the difference. There's some nights you just kind of take your hat off and shake the other guy's hand. West Mesquite was just a better team in this one tonight.
I think they were. They played really well. They came out very determined, and you know, we kind of were worried when and still, you know, Brayson's sitting there with 10 points, and they've got 61, so they've got to see that as a real bright spot for them too. And so that was nice to see 2 misses. It just may be too little too late right here for the Scots. But they really have come in and played well. See if Matt can knock one down.
Priscilla missed the 3. Will Miller gets it. So a valiant comeback effort by the Scots, but it'll fall short.
Just one of those nights, Brian, where the Scots, I think you look at it, you'll see that their shooting percentage was way low again, and it's kind of like it was a couple weeks ago where they just haven't shot very well, and you can't win a lot of games when you're not shooting the ball well.
So the Scots fall to 21-7 this season. They pick up their 3rd district loss as West Mesquite will have the all-important tiebreaker against Highland Park as they scored in the 60s in both matchups. It's very rare that you see a team able to do that against the Scotties, but it's 61-52 is the final. West Mesquite picks up win number 19. They're down 19-7. They are 7-2, and depending on what happens in the Smith game, will at worst be a game behind the district leaders. Chase Fletcher had 17 points for the Scots. Matt Fraschilla with 2. Mitchell Kaufman had 2. Ben Livingston had 2. Evan Buechler with 3. Will Miller with 5. Derek Kahn with 2. And what an effort tonight by the junior. Clayton Murtha had 19 points in what may be the best game of his young career. We had a really nice crew bringing this one to you tonight. Our producer, Kelly Snowden, the director, Drew Allman on the high cam. It was Connor Palacios down on the floor, Alex Kramer. And on graphics, it was Mr. William Blaney. We hope you'll join us for our next broadcast of Highland Park Scots varsity basketball when the Scots will try to bounce back on the road against the Creekview Mustangs. We'll have that one for you on Tuesday. That'll be a 7 o'clock tip right here. So, Coach, you don't want to say it's all done for the Scots District Championship hopes. They'll need a lot of help, and certainly will need to win out the rest of the way.
Absolutely, and again, you know, in these, it's a lot of Scott expectation level, and you know, now the focus got to be at where we're going to be, maybe at the playoff spot. You start looking at matchups with the District 9 4A and seeing who you want to play or who you're going to end up playing.
It's a good district.
It's a very, very good district, and it's like this one. It's pretty top heavy too. They've been beating up the lower half pretty bad, and so you kind of, I won't say you change your focus. You certainly go out and try to win every game. And you know, we handled Creekview, but boy, they've been tough for a lot of folks out there.
They're playing better too. Ian Spate is really finding his range from outside the arc. District 10 4A has 3 of the top 4 3-point shooters in the area among 4A. You've got Braylon Rayson, who's lapping the field. Then you have Ian Spade, who's now number 3, and then Will Miller there at number 4. So, you know, Creekview, you're going on the road. You know, you figured that was going to be a dangerous game anyway. It may have less of a trap feel to it now that the Scots came up short in this one. But that's a solid team that knows how to beat the Scots. They don't have many of those guys left that was able to knock the Scots off last year. But the Scots ended up winning that one by 33 earlier in the season. But it was a pretty tight game for much of the first half. The Scots really pulled away there in the 3rd and 4th quarters. But
yeah, it looks like however Spate goes is how the Creekview Mustangs go, and you know, they're a scary team. They really are, and they've played some of the toughies pretty well in spots, and they'll be great on their home court. I'm sure that's a neat arena, and it's they'll be tough to handle.
Now, Coach Clark, you'll have to hold down the fort for us. Miles Dunklin will be with you on Tuesday. I will be on assignment, I guess, as they like to call it in the news business. But not that I'm in the news, but I won't be there for that one. I'll
I'm
see
sorry
you
to
guys
hear
next
that, Brian.
Friday for Hoops and Hot Sauce, which we want to remind you is coming up next Friday. If there's any information you need on tickets or underwriting or the auction donations, they had a nice standout here showing you some of the things that they'll be auctioning off. But you can email those folks at hoopsandhotsauce@gmail.com. I'll see you Friday. Miles Dunklin and Coach David Clark will see you on Tuesday when the Scots head to Creekview to take on the Mustangs. 61-52 is the final. West Mesquite knocks off the Highland Park Scots. Until next time, I'm Brian Sutcliffe. Thanks for joining us. So long, everybody.
This presentation is brought to you by HPTV. If you or someone you know would like to sponsor this unique TV station, please email Mrs. Kelly Snowder at snowdeck@hpasd.org. And from all of us here at HPTV, we thank you for watching.